Pope Leo XIV called for a global response to the tragic drama of migration and said world peace was a true global imperative. In an unprecedented address to the Spanish Parliament, Pope Leo, in his address to the Parliament, calls for patient dialogue and says weapons can only lead to temporary silence, not a genuine and lasting peace. The Pope, who has been harshly criticized by US President Donald Trump for his anti-war views, also calls for respect for international law instead of conflict and rearmament in Europe and beyond. The Pope also urged lawmakers to defend life from conception to its natural end. In a country whose left-wing government has legalized euthanasia under strict conditions and wants to include abortion rights in the constitution, the leader of the world's 1.4 billion Catholics later on Monday will reportedly meet in private with victims of sexual abuse by clergy, which he has called an open wound for the church. In contrast with many of its European allies, Spain under Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez has a relatively liberal immigration policy. But the government is under pressure on the issue from the main conservative Popular Party and from far-right party Vox, now the nation's third largest political force. The Pope's 7-day visit to Spain will include a trip to the Canary Island, where he will pay tribute to the migrants who have lost their lives at sea on perilous journeys from Africa. The Spanish archipelago has become one of the main entry points for irregular migrants into Europe. The Pope, who has been harshly criticized by US President Donald Trump for his anti-war views, also called for patient dialogue instead of conflict and rearmament in Europe and beyond. Lawmakers gave the pontiff a lengthy standing ovation, with some shouting hooray for the Pope.